All right. Um, Good afternoon and welcome to Africa Talk Grain. I am Adekoya Adedoyin, and today we are having a crucial conversation about African climate priority as COP30 unfold right now in Berlin, Brazil. Okay, okay, this moment is pivotal for our continent as Africa stand both at the front line of climate impact and at the forefront of global climate solution. We will explore what's at stake for Africa, what the continent need from these negotiations, how African voices can shape a just and sustainable future for generations to come. Today, we are happy to be joined with our guest speaker, Esther Opute, on this discussion.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Ade.
Esther Opute is a sustainability communicator and marketing professional, passionate about driving African transition towards a greener and more inclusive future. She is currently pursuing a master's degree in business administration with specialization in marketing. Also hold a MBA from the African School of Strategic Branding and Management, equipping her with a strong strategy and communication and social impact leadership. Esther has actively contributed to future of work, climate and governance dialogue both within Nigeria and outside the country, including participating in the first Commonwealth dialogue. So she participated in the first Commonwealth dialogue ecosystem in Namibia. Our work explore how sustainable practices, especially in real estate, urban development, and clean energy, can strengthen community and foster equitable growth. She further bridged the intersection of family system, sustainable development, and urban resilience, reflecting our belief that the strength of any society begins with the strength of its home and the environment in which the family live. Driven by this convention, Esther advocates for sustainable city, climate resilient housing that enable families to thrive physically, socially, and economically. Esther has a perspective that emphasize sustainability is not only about the planet future, but also about the quality of life within our home today. We are happy to have you on this discussion, Miss Esther.
Thank you so much, Ade. Thank you for
All
that warm
right, all
welcome.
right.
I'm really
Um,
grateful. Thank you.
to begin with, right now, COP30 is actually ongoing in Brazil, in Belém, Brazil, and it's a really crucial moment for us in Africa. So, Esther, I want to ask you, for our viewer who may be new to climate negotiation, can you please briefly explain what COP30 is and why COP30 is particularly significant for Africa?
Okay, thank you so much once again for that question. So, first of all, to our new viewers and those who are just new, of course, to climate, I'm saying welcome and thank you for joining in. So, climate or COP30 really, COP on its own is simply an acronym for the Conference of Parties. So COP30 is signifying the 30th Conference of Parties. So by this Conference of Parties or by parties, we actually mean that different government bodies that are under the UN. You understand? So this COP actually began in 1992 and it was conveyed by the United Nations Framework on Climate Change Convention. So a treaty was signed actually in 1992 that actually brought about this, and COP on its own actually is the biggest world convergence of climate activists, scientists from different parts of the world that are under UN, and what they are advocating for is simple. Everybody is coming to talk about climate change, what the impact, how it is affecting their countries, how it can be mitigated, and how to move forward as a continent. Because for some decades now, we have actually been having different impacts on climate change, and different countries have actually been feeling these impacts. You understand? Can you hear me clearly, please? So different countries have been feeling the impact of climate change in their various places. And one thing that is very paramount is the need to come together, because this action is affecting everybody. So COP on its own is just simply coming together of parties, that's governments under the UN, to come and see the way forward. How do we push this forward? How do we make changes? What do we need to change? What do we need to improve upon? And how do we move forward as countries, as the world in general, to make sure that the climate is preserved and the communities are well preserved in essence? That's just it. So in summary, it is just simply the Conference of Parties, and this is the 30th. We have had over 29 Conference of Parties, and this is the 30th. And going further to Brazil, why this particular Conference of Parties is very important, it's because over the years, we have had several promises when it comes to COP. So several governments, they have made promises. It's more like there have been a lot of talking. There have been a lot of talking and talking. But this time, this Conference of Parties being held in Brazil is one that the countries are coming together to see that, okay, how do we move these promises, these things that we have been saying into action? How do we make sure that, you know what, all the promises that are not being met, they have been last COP, they were trying to raise 1.3 trillion to make sure that the climate is, that the issues that are facing the planet is being mitigated. But of course, the money wasn't up to, Africans have not gotten up to that amount that have been said or that have been set on course. So this time, the African government is coming to make sure that, you know what, when you're making promises, we want to make sure that your promises are converting to action. How do we find a middle ground and make sure that, you know what, we are not just pushing promises, but rather we are taking action? So that's why it is very, very important. Yes, yes, I can. Can
All
you hear
right.
me?
All right. Sorry about the break in transmission. Right now I can hear you properly. Um, the other time I couldn't hear what you were saying, so I couldn't
Okay.
comprehend um, your explanation. Um, Not to go back to what you have said, but just
Okay.
bring me up to date. Maybe in few sentences, just summarize what you just explained about COP30.
Okay. So like I said earlier, so COP is simply an acronym for Conference of Parties. And by COP 30, we mean that this is the 30th Conference of Parties. And every year, every year it has been happening. So this is the 30th year that it
Yes.
is happening. And this all began with a treaty that was signed in 1992, and it is actually under the UN framework of climate change convention. So these parties that we are talking about, it is actually the governments, the different governments from different nations that are coming together to come and talk about climate change, how it is affecting them, and how to make sure that they're able to mitigate actions that they can take, and to come basically to come to a common ground on how to achieve these climate change issues, or just come to a common ground on how to navigate the challenges that they are all facing, because it's not just one problem, it's not just for one country alone. This is something that is happening all over the world. So it is coming together of different countries to make sure that, you know what, these issues that we are all facing, we all can see the disasters in our various country: flood, droughts, landslides, rise in sea level. So COP basically is to come to a consensus of, okay, how do we make sure that we bring down the green gases emission to a level of 1.5 degrees Celsius, because it's way above
Yes.
that right now. So it's
Yes.
bringing it down to at least 1.5 degrees Celsius. So every country is working actively to see that. They are also talking of course, about the financing and everything. And prior to this time, like I said, why this particular COP is so important is, prior to this time, there have been a lot of promises. Oh, how do
Yeah.
we fund this? Oh, we are going to send this money. We are going to
Yeah.
do this. We're going to do this. This is going to do. But it's like, when they say cho cho cho, plenty
Yeah.
talk,
Yeah.
and no working. So, or the workings have been limited actually. So this time, COP30 is more like a very action-driven COP. So it's even taking place in Brazil, and not just any part of Brazil. It's taking place in the Amazon. So Amazon is like the forest area of
The word.
Brazil, to make sure, like, it's more like giving this clear view of whatsoever you are doing in your
Exactly.
country, your industrialization, this is the places it is affecting. So it's like bringing it to reality for people to see. So it's taking
Yeah.
place in Brazil because, of course, everybody can see it clearly. And Africa is moving in such a way that, you know what, let's move from all the promises to action right now. So this is a
Yeah.
very, very important COP for everyone. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Esther, for that wonderful insight. I know some of our viewers that are just hearing about COP30, COP Conference of the Parties for the first time will be able to comprehend what's really going on and what COP is all about and the discussion at Brazil at the moment. Okay, when you were explaining this, you talk about financing, like climate financing. So
Yeah.
while I was trying to research on this section on this program, I come across France 24. I think is a radio station, a TV station in France. So while the reporter was reporting, he was talking about why COP30 is really important, and he was talking about how the countries come together in COP29, and they are trying to, like, okay, help those that are being affected most by this climate change. Those poorer
Yeah.
nations, the developing nations. So, and back then they make promises of to raise 1.3 trillion dollars
Yeah.
before um 2035, actually. 1.3 million dollar before 2035. So we realize that this whole thing is just on paper. You get, it's just on paper that all everybody are saying it. And based on our experience of the past promises, we realize that the country will come, they will come out, promise, they will come out, okay, make pledges. And these pledges are not coming. They are not coming forth at the right time. And when they are coming, they are not coming as a grant. Most of it is coming as a loan for those
Yeah.
countries. So now I think COP30 right now is just to sit down and discuss on how this thing is going, how people are keeping to their promises of raising 1.3 trillion dollars for before um 2035. So let's talk about financing. Let's talk about financing.
Yeah.
So um Africa is let's talk about what Africa is experiencing right now. Um, what are the most pressing? Okay, before we go into climate finance, so let's talk about what are the most pressing climate impacts you are seeing across Africa. Those things that are visible for all to see, that are really affecting day-to-day life of Africans.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much. So the beautiful thing about climate is that climate change and all is that its impact is very visible, except you do not want to pay attention.
Yes,
Except you do not want to pay attention, it is very, very visible to everyone.
yes,
So
yes,
coming forth, I think the simplest example is the amount of heat that people are experiencing. So it's no longer like before. Like when you come out, I think I went out today and I was just trying to get myself into a vehicle as fast as possible because the sun was not even smiling at all. It is so hot. So, and this was morning time. It was 10
yeah,
a.m. and it was so hot. You
yeah,
understand? So,
yeah.
one of the most crucial things is the fact that, you know what, there have been a lot of heat. We have flooding. There have been rise in sea level, and because of the sun and how hot it is. So what has been happening is that the sea is beginning to expand.
Yeah,
So, and the more it is expanding and rising, it is moving over to the coastal, like expanding beyond its where it's supposed to, the coastal region. So it is affecting all the parts that are so close to the coastal region. So now this is leading to flooding because now there's no boundary anymore. So this sea is rising so much, the volume is so much, and then we are experiencing flooding in different parts. Do you understand? Like,
yes,
I think a critical example. Recently, I had a family friend. They had a borehole. They had a borehole. Everything, before you drill borehole in Nigeria, you will definitely
yes.
check the water level to make sure that everything was intact when they were drilling. Tell me, 3 months into digging that borehole and using it, all of a sudden there's no more water in the ground. There's
Hmm.
no like total disappearance. So all of these things, like what this is all about, is the fact that what now this is leading to droughts. Do you
Yeah,
understand? So drought. So people who are into farming, farmers, it is affecting their crop production, especially in Africa, where most of our agriculture is centered on direct rainfall. And all of this
yeah,
is being affected. I think even as at today, this November, we have started experiencing what is known as Amatan. which initially it was not like that. At least it
Yes.
has to go into December. And also, you can see so much changes. Oh, rain is falling more than it should in certain regions. Sun
Yeah.
is so much in certain regions, leading to droughts. So, do you understand? There will be rise in
Yeah.
sea level. All of these things are what these are the things, these are the visible impacts of climate change. In 2024, we had over 230 people that were killed due to flooding. Just 2024 here in Borno State,
That's
with
very bad.
600,000 people displaced through this flooding. Even the global Lake Chad has also experienced shrinkage. So, and this is also leading to desertification, is leading to drought, just like I said regarding agriculture. Also, in May 2025, here, this May that just passed not so long, we had a critical case in Niger State, in Mokwa, in Niger State. And what happened is that 150 people died from flood. So a lot of these things there are so many impacts. There have been so many issues that have been going on. A lot of coastal regions. Can you hear me, Ade? I think your screen is off. Just want to make sure that we
Yeah,
are sitting here together.
I can hear you,
Okay.
Madam.
So basically, even the coastal regions, like Lagos, all the places that are close to the sea, because of this whole rise in sea level, there have been more flooding. We have Dakar, we have Niger Delta, all these places that are so close to the coastal region, they are experiencing more flooding, they are experiencing more impact of all of this. In fact, everybody is going through one thing or the other at this point. So these are the
Yeah.
visible impacts that we are seeing.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much,
So that's
Esther.
it.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much. That's a wonderful view of what is really going on and what is on ground. According to what you just said now, what I can derive from it is that just the whole environment, the climate is just not predictable at the moment. You know,
Yeah.
at the moment we are having so much sunshine, we are having droughts. The next moment there is flood everywhere, so we can't really predict this thing, and there's need for us to take action right now before it gets out of hand. And you did mention of Lagos. We all know that Lagos is surrounded by water and the sea level is rising every moment, every time. So this means that it will get a point that if you are not taking action, if you are not combating this climate change, it will get to a moment that we will be losing billions of infrastructures, and it will be rendering millions of people, especially in Lagos, homeless. So there's need for us to take action. You get, there's need
Yeah.
for us to speak up as Africa, and that's why we are being represented in Brazil. So these are what our leaders should really look into. We can't just sit back and be looking. So based on this, let's talk about the finance. Let's talk about it. Yeah, because all these things that you just mentioned is just is showing us that we need money to really tackle this thing. We need money to reduce the effect of climate change in our environment. So and like you say in your introduction, climate finance has been um, issue in every COP30. You see them promising, making promises, and at the end of the day,
Yeah.
we are not seeing anything. And when we are seeing it, maybe they are coming as loan instead of a grant. So I want to ask you, what should Africa be demanding concerning climate finance at COP30?
Okay. So thank you so much. I think this is like the crux of the matter already.
Yeah, yeah,
It's because over the years,
yeah,
in fact, for every COP, this is
yeah.
like the bone of contention. this is, this is what takes 90% of the conversation. There are a lot of back and forth regarding finance. All the so many discussions. This is I'll call it the baba of it all. Like this is the so this has been the bone of contention, and it is very, very important for Africa, or African countries rather, to know exactly what they are asking for in COP30. So the thing is, there have been actually a lot of promises, good and fine, but I personally feel like in COP30 there should Africa should actually demand for more predictable and accessible and fair finance.
Exactly.
That is predictable, accessible, and fair finance. Now, the reason for this, I know a lot of people might be like, okay, who wants to finance it? Where is this finance coming from? Who should just be giving out money? Because that's always what has been the bone of contention. Why should we just give you money like that? We are all business people. We all want something profitable and all. So I think it is also important to go back to history, or the beginning of where all of this is coming from. Because globally, Africa only emits 4% of the greenhouse gases.
Emission. Yes.
So yes, emission. So the Western countries, the richer countries aside Africa, they have actually been emitting so much green gases. There have been so much emission over the years, and this is due to industrialization. So the more you industrialize, the more you have companies and everything working and all of that, combustion, the use of fuel and all of those things, there's more release into the atmosphere, these gases that are harmful to the atmosphere. So now the issue is Africa is the one bearing the brunt of it, because they are more vulnerable, which is not necessarily the fault of the Western country, because of course nobody told you not to develop. Nobody said you shouldn't also do your own industrialization and all of that. But the situation we are in right now is Africa is the one bearing most of these issues. They are the ones that the impact is coming on more. They are more vulnerable to it and all of that. So it is just a fair play. Because now in COP30, of course, because other countries also care for their lives, nobody wants to get burnt or flooded in the world and all of those things. So everybody's coming to a consensus. Okay, how do we make sure that, you know what, we are all safe? We have been industrialized, we still do not want to die from flood, from heat and all of those things, because of course we have had the Antarctica melting and all of those things, ice are melting, and of course can lead to flooding, and well, maybe everybody can die or something. But yeah, they are also concerned about that. And Africa on the other end, which has not been so industrialized, these countries are like, okay, you know what, you have the trees, you have the forest, you have all of these things that if you keep on pushing into what is it called now, cutting down your trees and all of these things, is going to lead to more impact, more rise in this degrees Celsius that we are trying to reduce. So there needs to be a firm, because it is what Nigerians we call rub my back, I rub your back. You want something from Africa, we also need something, because we also need to develop, we also need to go further, and we need this finance to do so. You also want to stay, want to keep on staying alive. Of course, you want your communities to keep being okay. So you also want Africans to move into renewable energy. And where the bone of contention is a lot of African countries do not have the finance to move into this renewable energy that the UN, that the world is clamoring that everybody needs to move to, because this is how the world is going to be saved, or this is how there will be reduction of this emission and all of that. So that is why there's a need for finance. So I'm just taking you through the background of where all of these finance talks are coming from. So for Africa, really coming from this point of view, I believe that Africans need to actually demand for more accessibility, more predictable, because over the years, it's more like whenever anybody likes, they can put in money and nobody is really tracking, nobody is holding anybody strongly accountable for, you know what, if we are making these donations, this donation must come in at this particular time frame. It has to come in at the right time and being disbursed effectively to all the countries. Do you understand? So if you're saying, okay, I should preserve my forests, I should not cut down trees in my country, then you should be able to pay the fund to make sure that, you know what, even while I'm not doing the things that will, because I can go into timber production and all of that would still finance my economy. So if I'm not doing all of those things, then you should be able to subsidize for those things that I am letting go of, for you to enjoy what you are enjoying. So I think at this particular time, there's a need for Africa to demand for more time frame. Like the time frame should be right. This finance should come in at so this time, and let there be more accountability. Do you understand? And then when it comes to grants and loans, one thing is you cannot keep you can't be the person who has caused the issue and then you are now giving me money to put me into more debt. It doesn't make any sense. So giving out money to African countries, Mr. Ade?
Yes, I'm with you. I can hear you loud now. Like, I can hear you.
Okay, it was actually echoing from your background here.
Oh, sorry about that.
Okay, all right. So, like I was saying, you can't tell me that I should give you, I should come and take loans for most of the issues that you committed. I mean, I'm just producing 4% of these emissions, and you want me to still take loans and get into more debt. So, and that doesn't even make logical sense when it comes to loans. So it is more of, there should be an understanding of more of this finance that is being donated, because there are monies that are coming in every single year. There's targets, and if we move to that predictable and accessible fund, and these countries they ensure that they are paying this money into the bank or wherever the money is being kept, there's a need also for it to be accessible to Africans, and not as loans. It can't be as loans. It has to be grants, because you already caused a problem. Then you cannot put me, a lot of African countries are already in debt. You cannot put us into more debt by giving us loans. And this is supposed to be a fair play. You know what, you want this, I want this also. Okay, let's come to a common ground. So it can't be loans. And also, you know, there should be more dedicated adoption funding for Africa. So it's more like set up a special fund for adaptation, rather, that gives African country monies, maybe a certain year, based on what they need, and to make sure that the money is given as grants. That's just the maximum this can go. And you know what, when it also comes to this climate finance, yes, I know that Africa is moving down there, or Africans are already there demanding. One thing also is to also look at this from a very critical view, because it's one thing to talk about climate finance, but it's another thing to also talk about climate leadership. And when I talk about climate leadership, it's the sense that, you know what, while these monies are being given, how is the money being used for the climate action that we are talking about? Because, of course, we have had the oil boom. And with the oil boom that Africans experience, or like the use of oil, the exploitation of oil and exploration of oil in Africa, we had a lot of millions of dollars coming to Africa. What was it used for? So how are we sure also that when these whole grants and these fundings are also given to Africans, that it will be used for what they told them to use it for? So to a very large extent, I also understand the Western countries, because it's like, we don't just want to give you money and then at the end of the day, it's like we're just giving you money. After all, we already have your track record of what you did with your oil money. We can't see the evidence. At least you understand. We can't see the evidence in your country. So I think even where Africans are clamoring for climate finance and holding the richer countries, the Western countries, to more accountability when it comes to these finances, and making sure that, you know what, this finance is being accessible to us, there's also our own role that we need to play. And that role is to make sure that we also have the right leadership to manage these finance that are coming in. It's not just to have finance coming in. Is it being utilized? Because you can have the finance coming in. It's beyond just, okay, we have trained young people in solar skills. We have trained them in panel and installation. Okay, what about the industries too that are going to employ or house these people in large amounts? Do we have that? Are we channeling our efforts into that? Do you understand? So it is just a very, I feel like, aside climate finance, and where we are making sure that, you know what, we are dragging these people and saying, you must give us this money, we must come to a consensus on this, we also have to talk to ourselves as Africans and make sure that we also have a system. I feel like the communities in Africa need to have a system where they are able to hold their government accountable to see how the money is being disbursed, when the money is coming in, which communities. Let's have a database that shows us, okay, you know what, when this money comes, this and this is what we have done. Let it be transparent. Let's see what is going on, so that it is not the same issue that we faced with, or that we have actually been facing with, the oil exploration in the country, that is still also going to happen to the climate financing that is coming from these countries. So that's basically what I think about this.
That's so wonderful, Esther. I'm really enlightened today. You have really spoken. You have really touched so many points while you were speaking. I was able to pick from what you just explained right now about simplify access to funding. If you look at the financial funding of climate change, there is so many bureaucratic system, or so many bureaucratic rules that you have to follow to assess those financing. And when you are following those rules, when you are following those steps, there are fees attached to it. At the end of the day, we want to give us $10 million, and I'm receiving $5 million because of those bureaucratic rules that I have to follow, the administration fee, every fee that comes with it. So for us to really enjoy what we are given, those climate financing should be simplified, and to for us Africa to have easy access to those financing. And you also mentioned of afforestation. You also mentioned of accountability, if I'm right. Yes, we need to hold our leaders accountable for each of these things. How are they spending this funding? Where are the funding going? We need to hold them accountable. Also, you talk about our natural reserve, if I'm right. You talk about our oil. So this actually leads to my the next question I'm having. So we are all talking about transitioning to renewable energy. So I want to ask this: well, what really happened to our reserves, those fossil fuel that we have in reserve? What really happened to it? Are you saying that we should just abandon them and start thinking towards renewable energy? Do you understand my question, Esther?
Yes, I do, Ade. I do. And that's actually a wonderful question because I'm
Yeah.
wondering. Of course, we cannot throw away what we have on our reserve and just move into renewable
Yes.
energy. It doesn't make any logical sense.
Exactly.
So I think I think the transitioning, it should be gradual. I mean, I came across a news that the president of Brazil has been going under serious bombarding because he opened or he allowed the drilling of oil in his country, and they are the ones hosting COP30.
Exactly.
And yeah, so, but the beautiful thing about it was when he gave his reply, it was just amazing because it made a lot of sense. You can't just tell me, oh, I need to move straight ahead to renewable energy when first of all you you have not even been meeting up targets of the finance that you promised. So, and I have to keep it moving. I have to make sure that my economy is growing and all of that. So it is only logical that, you know what, give us grace. I feel like what can be done is the fossil fuel, the oil, we can actually still keep on processing gradually, but it should be used into development of systems in the renewable energy space where, you know what, after we have done this for a while, then we can move into this, and this can further give us like profits or revenue. That's why I was talking earlier that it is also beyond just skill acquisition or just training people around solar panel. We need to have something that, for instance, China and India, they have become like the central hub for manufacturing of solar panels and all of these things. And Nigeria is importing these panels.
Yeah.
We're importing, and then we are training our young people to only be solar panel specialists. So it's more like we are moving ourselves towards the service and maintenance. So it's still going back to dependence, the same dependence that we have had with the oil boom. It's like we still also want to tilt towards that when it comes to climate change and the funds that is coming from there. So I feel like the transition should be, we are still doing oil, we are still making sure, but it is not forever. We are not sticking to this for a long term. We are taking the money and using it to make sure that we are diversifying into other economies that can continue to produce for our economy and sustain us over time. So I feel like that's why I told you earlier, you cannot even talk about climate finance. We can't even talk about climate transitioning for Africans without talking about climate leadership. It is just the core of it. Because if there are no right leadership or transparency for all of this, we will still go back into dependence. We will still go back and keep asking, oh, we need money, we need money. And I mean, every country is into business. I cannot keep on financing you and financing you. Just like when you have a friend that is always coming to ask you, give me. If I'm the one, I will end the friendship. We are done. I cannot continue this kind of friendship. It is very parasitic. You understand? So I feel like that's the same thing. Our transitioning should be gradual. We have it in mind to transition. We were going to, it's more like using our resources strategically, and that's the oil and gas and coal, but we are using it to fund development. We are using it to fund development in the renewable space and to make sure that we are coming up in the solar, wind, and green hydration and all of that. So I think that's it basically. I think that's it. We should just think about it in that way.
Okay, thank you so much, Esther. Um, I think you have really done justice to that. But one thing I want to want you to put more light into for me is the decision. I don't know, maybe you heard about the United States of America not being present at COP30. Yeah. So and
Yeah,
earlier this year, government, the president of the United States, Donald Trump, actually
yeah.
exits the Paris Agreement. And when this COP started as well, he did not show up. And his excuse is that they have so many reserve for fossil fuel. And why would they abandon that and chase climate renewable energy? You get? And when we look at this
Yeah.
climate impact, climate change, climate problem that is happening, we realize that United States is one of the major uh, contributor to this. When we look at when we talk about United States, we talk about India, we talk about China. These are the people that are really, they are really contributing greatly to green greenhouse gas emission. And he's saying that he want to leave the conversation, he want to leave the discussion. What do you think about his decision?
Okay.
I can't hear you, Esther. I can't hear you. Esther, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Esther?
Okay. Uh,
I think the network is bad at your end. I can't really hear you, Esther.
So I can't hear anything. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Hey. No, no, no.
I think we are having a network glitch at the moment. Esther, can you hear me? No, I can't
can
hear
you hear
you,
me now?
Esther. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so your voice is sounding very.
Can you hear me, Esther?
I don't know what's happening.
Oh my.
Yes, I can hear you, but it sounds like when you use this transition on your voice, that makes it like a
Oh.
baby's voice. That's what I can hear.
so, so I can hear you at my end. Hope you can cope with the baby voice that you are hearing. Can you still cope with the
Okay, so
baby
this sounds
voice?
good. Sorry,
Can you hear me, Esther?
I can't hear what you're saying. I can't hear what you're saying.
Oh, we are having network issue right now. Um, I don't know. Some of our viewers, if you can hear me, can you put it in the comment section? If you can hear me, some of our viewers that are joining us on this live discussion about climate financing. We are talking about COP30 that is happening right now in Brazil. Belém, Brazil. So if you can hear me, can you put it in the comment section so that I know where the problem is coming from? Okay, you can. Okay, can you hear me? Please put it in the comment section if you can hear me, so that we can continue. If you can hear me, put it in the comment section. Yeah, having network breach actually. Some of our viewers on this live, you can hear me, can you put it in the comment section? If you can hear me, can you put it in the comment section? Esther, can you hear me?
Can you speak again? Let me see if I can
Esther,
hear
can you
you.
hear me? Can you hear me, Esther?
Oh,
Can you hear me?
it's still sounding the same way.
I think the issue is coming from your end.
Yeah, I think it's from my end, so I don't know what to do.
Yes. So can you hear me now?
I can hear you. It's just that the way it's coming out, like I said, it's coming out like,
Yes.
yeah. So it's coming out, so it's making the words not to be very clear.
So
Maybe
can
I should
you
leave and
just
join in again. Just hold on.
Oh, that would be
Let me
wonderful.
leave and join in.
Can do that. Yes, yes, you can do that. While we wait for you to join. Okay. I think my guest speaker is having issue with connection from my end. So while we wait for her to join, for those that are just joining this live section, we are talking about COP30, road to COP30. We are looking at Africa Talks Green. And in this conversation, we unpack what COP30 in Brazil means for Africa, why this moment is crucial for the continent and the future. Our guest Esther she has shed so many light and she has enlightened us on the real climate impact that we are having on ground, what is happening to our continent, how we need to act as fast as possible. She also uh, put light into climate financing. We have them making pledges uh, at the conference. We have experience of different conferences that have happened in the past: the COP 30, the COP 29, the COP 27, the COP 28, and other COPs that have come and gone. But we see these countries, these funders, in the likes of the EU, the United States of America. We have India. We have the major funder of this climate financing, making promises, and at the end of the day, they are not really delivering what they promise. It's just that we are always having it on paper, but we are not seeing the the reality of it. So Esther have really done justice, and she also talked about how we can preserve, or how we can still continue our fossil fuel while we try to um, advance in renewable energy. We can't say because of the situation that is on ground that all our reserves should go into waste. So we still have to still preserve those things. We can't continue being the borrower. We can't continue to be borrowing, and we can't continue to be in debt while we have all this reserve in our backyard. So she had really shed more light on these issues. So we are still waiting for her to join the life back. We are waiting for her. I think she's having network issue at her end. She's having network issue at her hand. Okay, it seems like Esther is still battling with the network. So hopefully we'll be able to bring her back next time for this discussion, because there are so many things we need to discuss. There are so many things we need to shed light into. Um, All right, that's all we have for today, and we hope to see you next time. And thank you so much, Esther, for this enlightenment conversation. And thank you so much to the viewers um, joining us on Africa Tongue Talk Brain. So
Yes, loud and clear.
before the network went off, we were discussing about the decision of Donald Trump um, for not attending the COP30, and he didn't even send any delegates to represent the United States of America. And we talk about United States, India, and China are the major contributor of greenhouse gas emission, and those are contributing so much on this issue. They are not on seats. And earlier this year, he also um, exit the Paris Agreement are supposed to be due by 2030. So, what do you think about his decision on this?
Okay, so I was going to make a bit of fun or joke of it when you first talked about him. I was going to say we're already in a situation, don't add more. We're
Oh,
already, Nigeria is already in a situation. Yeah, so, but the network did a lot
as
already.
in,
So, personally, from my viewpoint, yeah, I think
yeah,
his decision is is it makes it very clear for even African countries to see that some of the biggest, whether we want to call them emitters, or they're also like the biggest funders and all,
yes,
whatsoever angle we want to look at it from, it is also letting Africa know that, you know what, we also need to be self-reliant. We cannot keep on waiting for someone else to do the job and send us money and all of those things. So it is a call to realization that at any point in time there can be, in fact, more countries can even leave. That's what it is. That's what is making obvious. More countries can leave. So what do you have in store for yourself? How do you protect your people? How do you make your people, or how do you grow your economy? How do you stand for yourself? So I think that is part of what we have spoken about in terms of, okay, you know what, we still have fossil fuel and all of those things. We need to learn how to fight for ourselves and transition in such a way that, with or without anybody funding, we have enough resources to make it easy for us to transition with or without the help of a lot of these funders. So even if more countries leave, we have enough too. We have what, like, that's why proper utilization of our own resources, better, like I said earlier too, we can't talk about climate finance without climate leadership. So in whatever we are doing, we still have to come to the realization that, you know what, if there's proper utilization, proper management of what we own or what we have, we can move into this transition easily. So even if more countries, just like President Donald Trump, have decided to leave, and other countries decide, we can hold something, we can do something for ourselves without the impact being too much on us. So that's what I think about it, really.
thank you so much, Esther. We are about to wrapping up this discussion, but before we go, we talk about transitioning, yeah. Then and why we start this program, we were talking about everybody knows that this the climate is unpredictable and the effect is right at our face. We are seeing it. The impact is everywhere. I remember I and my friend were having a discussion uh, some times ago, and he was so sure, was predicting the Amatan season, the weather. And no, from now till so period, there will be Amatan, so I was like, guy, you be like saying you have not updated this weather. You can't predict it again. You can't
Yeah.
really say, okay, by the social time there will be maternity, by the social time there will be rainfall. And if those things are coming, they come with full force. So we can't really predict it. The impact is already at our doorstep. So my question
Yeah.
is now for our viewers that are just learning about climate change, they are just hearing about COP30. So how do you think they can be part of this fight against climate change?
Okay. Thank you so much for that. And yes, we are wrapping up. And that's an amazing question to wrap up with. Okay.
Exactly,
Well,
exactly.
I think the best place to start from is to be aware, to
Hmm.
be very much aware as an individual that, you know what, this has come to stay, this is what is going on. Just like you talked about your friend, you're not updated, you need to get updated. Every single
Yes.
one of us needs to get updated. So awareness is the first place. I feel like it is very,
Hmm.
very powerful when you have knowledge about, you know what, this is what is going on, this is its impact. So when you know about these things, you then know how to take proper action, how to make sure that, okay, you know what, I can do one or two things, something you are not aware of, something you don't know is in existence. There's nothing there's nothing you can do about it. If I don't know that rice exists, I will not eat rice. That's it.
Yes.
You understand? So if you don't know about climate change existing, you would not know how to work on it. You would not know how to take action on it. I think that's the very first place. Then I think the second thing that our viewers can do is also to ensure that, you know what, be able to hold your government accountable, because they have gone there now, they're in COP30 and all of that. What's the system of accountability? How do you hold these people accountable? How do you advocate more? Because when you know, now you can go into the space of policies, you can go into the space of, okay, what's our government doing? How can I be part of this? And all of those things. So you can now take more action on holding the government accountable. Just like we talked about, it is beyond just collecting finance or funding from all of these countries. It is we going back and taking or making out time to make sure that, you know what, as this finance are coming, we are able to utilize it effectively. And that comes from being able to hold our government accountable for all of these fundings that are coming in. I think another aspect would be to invest in Africa's green future. We have a green future already as Africans. So it is to support projects, support things that have to do with renewable energy. Get your aside awareness, get yourself the understanding. You know what? Get yourself into the skill set, climate smart agriculture. Like be diverse with all of these things. Or business, learn more about the businesses that are building sustainable solutions in the continent. And aside that, go into further education. We talked about China, we talked about India, that they are already like core dominators in this industry. What we can do is to have like this cultural exchange where, you know what, Africans can go there, learn, and then come back, really know how to implement, and come back home, implement, so that we are not just at the receiving end alone. We are not only at the, oh, we have solar panel, fixing guys and all of that. We are also able to own the industry. We are also able to make sure that we are also key dominators in this industry. Yeah, basically. And I feel like also, you know what, things that are coming from Africa, um products that are coming from Africa, there's also a need for us to support our own, because it's, the more we support our own, the better we grow our economy. So there's a need also for Africans, for you and I, to support what belongs to Africa, because that is also a sign of, or a signal of investing in Africans' green economy ethically and profitably for us all. So I think that's it, really.
All right. Thank you so much, Esther. Uh, so we are. Can you hear me, Esther?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so we are about rounding up this discussion. I want to say a very big thank you to Esther for this enlightening us on this conversation. We really appreciate you. And for our viewers out there, this program is being sponsored, is being brought to life by Do Take Action. Do Take Action is a non-profit organization, and as we are discussing, one way you can be part of this climate action is by leveraging on Do Take Action. So how do you join us? You can go to our website www.dotakeaction.org. We have so many issues, and part of one of the issue is climate change. We have DGC, our grassroots development champions. So to be part of this climate change, to be part of this climate action to act, you can register, and I will bring you up to date on how to go about the whole thing. So um, we want to say a very big thank you to the viewers for joining us, for staying with us to this moment. We have so many ups and downs with the network, but we are back and strong. So, to Esther, I hope when next we will call upon you, you'll be available for us.
Of course, definitely. As long as you
Um,
don't ask me questions that puts us all in trouble.
we will restructure our question next time. I think the network is bad. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, I remain Adekoya Adedoyin. I will see you